Microphone check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Mistress of Wine, welcome in. GP, what up? So today we're going to go through all the trial exhibits. Maybe even some videos that I have saved from when they went missing. We'll take a look at the Bridge Guy video, Libby's video. We'll watch both interviews of Richard Allen, and then we'll go through all the trial exhibits. We'll talk about all the recent events and whatever else you guys want to add to that.
As of the facts that we have collected at this point in time, we have not tied it to any other known homicides.
Keep in mind that there is a likeliness of the possibility of more than one person. We're not saying that the voice that you heard is the same as this person here.
Say what?
As of the facts that we have collected at this point in time, we have not tied it to any other known homicides.
Keep in mind that there is a likeliness of the possibility of more than one person. We're not saying that the voice that you heard is the same as this person here.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Cindy, what's going on with you? Haven't seen you in a minute. Karen, how you doing? Oh, and I got some good footage for you guys when I went camping, so I'll make a compilation for you. I need to edit it a little bit here and there, but I got tons, probably at least 2 hours worth. Karen Hick, it's good to see you as well. Mustang, anything I like? It's been a minute. How are you? We got 23, 25, 26, 26, 30 something people in here. If you guys could go ahead and hit the like button. That's your fee. That's your fee to play. But this video is going to be all about Abby and Libby. It's not going to be about anything else, really. You know, there's a monster that killed those two girls. We're pretty sure who it is. I mean, you can never be 100% sure unless somebody sits down and gives you like an exclusive, like, look, this is why I did it. And that could still happen. But I mean, there is a very high likelihood that they got it right. You know, did they do a poor job on the investigation? Absolutely. You know, we're human. People are human. Especially in a small town like that. I mean, think about it. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm completely obsessed with this case. I just cannot understand it. I just knew it was going to be something hard to figure out. Something not easy for, because if you look, what the hell was his name? This FBI agent right here. It's like slipping my mind right now. Mr. Green Tie. But I feel like they were unable to profile this person. And I know it sounds weird, but I feel like humankind has like a collective consciousness. And it's not psychic, it's not this. It's almost like we're all connected in some way through some kind of energy or something. And I feel like Abby and Libby were trying to tell us that. Like, hey, it's not going to be what you expect. That's why I'm like their energy was able to kind of capture us. And it really did. It was like residual haunting. It was like a residual haunting. That's what it felt like. But I don't think we're done. And it's just crazy that we have a whole group of people who are still. The way I look at it is Richard Allen is most likely the guy, right? Or involved. There's definitely more evidence to suggest that he had involvement in the case than there's not, right? I think we should all be able to agree on that. That should be the logical consensus, I think. Like, I'm not going to fight for somebody who is most likely the guy, right? With a high probability. There's just no way to say, yes, 100%, Richard Allen is the guy, because there are coincidences. They do exist. But then you got to ask yourself, if you take a look at all these other cases where there were coincidences, the person who was falsely accused was always putting up this incredible fight, and nobody believed him. I haven't seen Richard Allen put up any fight. Instead, he thinks killing 2 girls is reminiscent of a cowboy. Mama, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys. Killing 2 kids doesn't make you a bad boy. It makes you a little bitch. It makes you food for hell. And that's what he is now. Most likely, right? Who did I miss? Jari, what's up? Patty, good to see you. Real quick, guys. I'm going to go help my wife with something. It'll just take like 2 seconds. All righty. Ooh, that shit was heavy. Jill Moser, what's up with you? Number 4. Webs of Deceit Untangled. Big Fish, what up? We would be easy, more sure, like his DNA at the scene or the girl's DNA in his car. That doesn't mean he's innocent, though. Only 10% of murder scenes contain the killer's DNA. 10%, guys. Less than 10%. The only reason that we find it all, we get all up in arms about it is because we're ignorant to all of that. And me, I'm just extremely curious. I went and found that out. Less than 10% of murder scenes contain the actual killer's DNA. Isn't that crazy? That was shocking to me. Also, would be nice to have some digital evidence, some scam on computer, or just a general. What does that mean? CSAM? Well, we don't know if CSAM is related to this. And I just feel like people aren't giving Richard Allen enough credit for the sophistication that may have been involved. He had nearly 7 years to kind of clear his footprints. And he was just hiding in front of everybody. Because that's how I know that he's a psychopath. Because he's able to hide like that. That means that he's been doing it for a long time. He's known that he's been batshit since he was a little kid, I think. Mustang. Some people are obvious, just not as smart as they think they are. Most killers, most people in general, I think talk is cheap. Judge people on their acts, the things that they do, the things that they're able to accomplish, the way the people around them look at them. Did the person take souvenirs? Where are they? Well, we heard about the sock and underwear, and that's typical, It's not like that's shocking or that it was overlooked. They searched that entire creek, probably all the way down to the city. Karen Hicks says Richard Allen had a long time to clean up his mess. Yeah. And I think that when you're covering your tracks, I believe that this was a premeditated murder. This is pure speculation. That's why some people refer to me as sleuth speculation. Because that's what I do. I think that's how you get to your next. If you're looking for physical, tangible proof, that's how you get there. You theorize, you speculate, you try to see a clear path to where you're trying to go. And it's okay to go down that road, like the whole Keegan Kline stuff. Go down there, do your due diligence, do some real journalism, do some real digging, make some real contacts. Because I don't trust law enforcement. This is not a pro-police channel. I get along real well with a lot of the retired CSI guys. These cold case detectives are my favorite because they're old school. I prefer that. When you weren't relying on technology, like, hey, we did our due diligence. That's it, Well, I had to clock out, My shift was up. Exactly, GP. He had plenty of years. Karen, me too. Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's plenty of reasons why. And that's completely based off factual information. It can be being perceived poorly, Perception is everything. The world that I'm living in is not the same world that you guys are living in. The way we're perceiving everything is completely different. I think even down to like colors and things like that, sound, even smells. Speak your mind. Speak your mind. GP, thank you. It's good to be back. Man, it was good. It was a nice break, though. You guys are going to be blown away by the footage I got. It's beautiful. I bet that percentage is higher worth hands on method of unalivings. Well, the thing is people they don't have a very good imagination. Some of us have been blessed with this really great imagination. Where in your mind you can see something to completion, all the parts and all the pieces. You can clearly see it in your mind. You know, it's like putting together a carburetor or something. You can just see it. Anna says Frank Meister had a good video today with information about crime scene DNA in general. Yeah, if you guys want to add to anything that we're bringing, like we haven't even gotten started yet, guys. Big Fish, psychopaths would not have an attachment disorder with their wives because they wouldn't care. Yes, they would. Most people who suffer from psychopathy live a parasitic lifestyle, so that's exactly what they would do. On the contrary, au contraire, mon frere, to their benefit, he seems like an idiot. Who's that? I don't know. Ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. Big Fish, I'm not saying he's innocent, just playing devil's advocate. Yeah, let's do that. Let's look through the eyes of the killer. Is that Richard Allen? Absolutely, in my opinion. You know, I don't know for sure, but everything fits. Is it a whole lot? Is it devastating? No, but it's enough to say, hey, look, guys, this is most likely him. And when you have it's a most likely him, like 99.9%, and the guy's not going, no, it's not me. Like, we're going to put up a fight. You know, we're going to fight to this. I'm being set up. Like, fuck Nick McClellan and Jerry Holman and all these guys. Like, they're setting me up. Like, I'm just this normal guy. You have to believe me. But no, he's masturbating in prison and singing country music. And his mom, the people that he was with that morning, refused to testify because they weren't going to perjure themselves. They pled the fifth because they would have to take the stand and tell the truth about what they saw that day. Now, if the truth was Richard Allen looked great, he was in good health, you know, nothing seemed off, they would have taken that stand. When you have confirmation bias about stuff, you just overlook the nuance of everything. You're like, oop, don't need that. Right? You get enough pennies, you got $1. Mustang, I think it was planned too. Yeah, definitely premeditated, in my opinion. And when you're pre-planning a murder, you're thinking how you're not going to get caught, right? Like, what do I need to do to cover this up? What do I need to do if I commit these murders? Excuse me, guys. This Coors Light it's kind of a little bit warm. It was in my cooler. So he's going to be thinking, how do I not get caught for committing a murder? Okay, well, first thing I need to do is I need to use a burner phone, right? I can't connect to my Wi-Fi at home. It has to be something public. I can't have anything attached to my personal information on this burner phone. So if he's setting up a Facebook, a Snapchat, a Twitter, it's all going to be under an alias. It's going to be a fake birthday. It's going to be a fake address. Shit, he might even be registering on there as a female. Microphone check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. I'm back, guys. I'm back. Sorry, my wife was well, she has like this thing. It's like a blow dryer. It's for our dogs after she cleans them up, gives them a bath or whatever, and it's pretty high powered. And for whatever reason, it tripped the breaker. And it takes forever for my computer to reload. So I'm just like, all right, I got to set up a part 2, thinking that it was completely shut down because when I looked on my phone, it didn't show that the stream was active. So I thought we lost it. So good. I didn't have to create a part 2. Hey, wife Lilith, we all thought you activated your invisible power. I had to go dark. No biggie. Well, I didn't say it was a biggie. I wasn't worried about it. What I missed anyway. Let me go back up. Looks like Mark's here. What up? Camping was amazing, dude. Amazing. Cryptics. Yeah, dude, you just got to disappear. Psh. Then everybody's like, what the fuck? What happened? I should have came back and just put a bunch of matrix numbers on the screen. Stealth mode. Badass, good to see you. Miss Joel. Who else did I miss? Garrett. Most with any personality disorder fear abandonment and definitely have dependent. See, that's what I was saying. I concur. Big risk of family testifying is that they could be asked risky questions. Well, if you're innocent, what do you mean? You mean questions? You can't just berate a witness. Like it's yes or no. Did you see Richard Allen in the morning? Yes. Did he seem like he was in good spirits? Yes. Now, if that wasn't true, that would be perjury, which is a crime. I think it might even be a felony. Don't quote me on that, though. I'm not a lawyer. Mustang. So funny when people use alt accounts, but it's still obvious who they. Well, you could definitely tell me. Like I have the spelling of an 8-year-old. I would be hard pressed to win a spelling bee for 8th graders. I just have a weird brain. It's like it overanalyzes too much. It's kind of annoying. What else did I miss? Let's see. Wife Lilith. He at one point was naked, pissed on floor, and was mimicking what the guard was saying and doing. Innocent men gone wild. A lot of people don't talk about This wasn't admissible. Everybody used to give Judge Gold a real hard time and say she was biased. But this is proof that she wasn't, because there was an incident while Richard Allen was in prison and he threatened the guards. And he said that he could kill them by slicing their throats. And he literally went like this in the air, like he was holding a box cutter, and went like this. You don't believe me? Go watch the interview with Jerry Holman. He talks about all these little bits and pieces that Goal sided with the defense. But you don't hear about that because the prosecution's not out here like running the streets and shit, running the YouTube streets. Fucking, what is that? The red light district. Fucking Andy and Brad walking the red light district of YouTube, looking at all these fucking disgusting YouTubers through the glass, and they're like, okay. Straight out of Amsterdam. Yeah, each to their own. Each to his own. You're frozen. All right, let's zip down to the bottom. Beth, what's up? Welcome in. Good to see you. Christine, always good to see you. Tony N. How do we know what he does in prison? Who leaks it? Well, it's not a leak. Like, this is public information that came out during his trial. You know, it's up to Judge Gold whether or not to allow it or not. That was allowed with stipulations that I think only the jury was able to view it and hear it. Remember when Baldwin's wheel fell off while pushing his guilty defendant's trial exhibit? Yeah, it's just, I mean, even the universe is like, dude, we're not giving you a pass on this. I'm sorry. You're not getting it. And there's I believe others were involved, and there's a reason that Richard Allen didn't talk. You got to wonder what that is. Why didn't he talk? I think that's the reason why he said, I think he might only be responsible for Abby. I think it's possible. I mean, it's likely he committed both murders, but I mean, when you look at the information, the evidence, they're so different. Everything is completely different. Richard Allen having a daughter. Put your clothes on. Put your clothes on. Here, stay with me. I know this is bad. He might tie her up. You know, cover your eyes for this. And then they brutally attack her friend. Or one of them does. And says to Richard Allen, and this is how I believe that the unspent shell might have landed on the ground. And remember, Sarah Carbaugh said that the person she saw on 300 looked like he was in a fight. I think that Richard Allen might have pulled his gun out on them. Said, hey, you didn't say this is what we were going to do. And then boom, they get into a little bit of a scuffle. The guy takes his gun away from Richard Allen. Empties the chamber and hands him his gun back. Like, put on your game face. And says, hey, I've already committed murder. Now, the only way that I can trust you is if you in turn commit murder. So you have one case of Libby being completely nude. God rest her soul. Today's all about Abby and Libby. But one person had a specific interest in her. And it was really violent. Like chaos. You know, like, I don't know, blind fury. A little bit of, what do you call that? Passion? Crime of passion? It was just different. And even the wounds are different. I did this, now you have to do this. And then when you look at the information about what happened with Abby, it's different. I think there's one cut, some superficial wounds. She was allowed to put her clothes back on, cover up, and you had Richard Allen make the comment that he was sorry what he did to Abby. Right? And he has a daughter. That could explain the redressing of it and the fibers or whatever was going on her face that were reported during the trial. But the evidence tells us there's two perpetrators, in my opinion. What the fuck do I know? Samantha Lee. I don't know, Sleuth. I kind of feel like Abby saw what was happening to Libby and passed out. Yes. That could be very true because there was no defensive wounds. And if you have one man holding a victim, she wouldn't have defensive wounds either. So somebody was holding her while another person was going fucking crime of passion or anger or always wanted to do this. You know, oh, I always wanted to do this. I always wanted to kill like somebody. And they just went like kind of like a madman and then stood back. And yeah, I could totally see Abby pass out because that's how they described it in the autopsy. The pathologist described it that way. No defensive wounds. It was almost as if she may have been knocked out. Whenever I tell people that that's what was stated in trial, that she might have been knocked out, they always assume I mean by like a punch. You can get knocked out by medicine. You can get knocked out by fainting. You know, you're out. You're out cold. But yeah, the evidence, at least to me, shows two people. How else can you explain no defensive wounds on Libby? Somebody was holding her and then let her go like this. Had her arms behind her back and he just went blop, 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 blop. Like some kind of maniac. There were some drawings put on, I think it might have been X. And somebody did like an artist rendition of what was explained in court. And when you look at that, it just shows like some type of violence. And we always heard that from the beginning, right? That Libby was targeted. There's a reason for that. There's all this violence here. There's nudity. Why would he leave Libby nude? To embarrass her, to shock the people that saw the crime scene. Like it was shocking. And that's the staging right there. It's just the nude body right there. Her clothes, he didn't strip her right there. Her clothes are scattered all over the place. That is, in its own way, part of the signature, the staging of the crime scene. He's like, here's my message. I'm talking to either Libby or somebody else. Like, this is what you get. But he could have been telling her that, like, this is what you get for what you've done. You've angered me to the point where I'm going to go do something that I've always wanted to do anyway, right? Sickos and psychopaths, they're always looking for an excuse. If they can blame something and kind of approach it through like a delusional way, they can trick themselves like, okay. And then they've convinced themselves now they can go and do what they've always wanted to do, which is what they've been fantasizing about all along, is kidnapping, killing, or maybe even being killed by somebody that they've just kidnapped. Remember, Richard Allen was into that weird movie, or searched that movie. I'm not going to give, add anything to it, but he searched that twisted ass movie about, and what was interesting about that movie is it had an online aspect to it, right? That leads us back to Anthony Shots. So maybe Richard Allen had some sick fantasy of attempting, like he couldn't commit suicide, So he was going to attempt to fulfill this weird, sick fantasy. And while attempting to sexually assault two girls after luring them online, they would then overtake him and put him out of his misery. You know, something very similar as that movie. What was that movie? Hard Candy, I think is the title. Let's see. Anna, I have seen some crime scene photos and heard descriptions. I am curious if there were any signs that the offender grabbed either girl by the hair that could control one and keep the other near. I think it's simple. You have Richard Allen kind of sheepdogging. You know, he's the one that's going to sheepdog and bring the girls, you know, kind of make sure that they cross that creek, because there's somebody waiting for them right there, and that's Anthony Schatz. Why would he cross the river? It's so cold. Yeah, maybe for you. I don't know. Maybe you've never been so high on adrenaline that you didn't give a shit about cold water, because that's definitely what was going on with the killer that day. High as a kite. Hey, Ruckus. What up? Good to see you. Let's go to Beth real quick. There had to be something that made law enforcement and Nick M think there was more than one perpetrator. Absolutely. But they don't get to speculate like we do. Let's go to Anna. Sometimes you don't feel a deep wound that happens fast. Yeah, that's true. Your brain is tricky. That's why we always do brain games on here, because our brain is very tricky. It's like a computer. It has to like verify things, and also it fills in the gaps a lot. So if you don't know what that is, it's kind of like a little kid, you know, he's crying or she's crying. You got the needle. She's in the doctor's office, going to get a shot. And she's crying. She's crying. She's like, it's going to hurt. I don't want the shot. La, la, la. And the doctor's like, well, I already gave you the shot. It's kind of like that. It's just so sharp, and it's really probably shocking. You know, shock might be instantaneous. I don't know a whole lot about shock, but also a clean cut. I've had some pretty deep lacerations or you know, gashes from my warehouse days, and it doesn't hurt right away. Sometimes it doesn't hurt at all. You know, if you clean it up quickly and put that super glue on it and then kind of wrap it, boom, you're good. If you're lucky. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Anna. You might be in shock. What do you do if you feel something on your throat, Anna? Let's say somebody has your hands behind your back and another man cuts your throat, and the man that's holding your arms behind your back lets go. What are your hands going to do? They're going to go right to your throat. What the fuck did you just do? That's what the evidence tells me. That's the only thing that explains no defensive wounds and blood all over her hands and kind of sprayed down in front of her. So whoever did this embarrassed her. And Richard Allen, I think, took pity on Abby. He allowed her to get redressed. Fought with the killer, the other killer. Like, how I didn't sign up for this. You never told me you were going to take it this far. You know, like some man pulls out his gun. Like, no way, man. They fight over it. Guy takes the gun away. removes the magazine, and then clears the chamber. So right after he just killed Libby, he fights with Richard Allen, takes his gun, empties the chamber. It falls right there. He tells him, "You need to go participate in this crime, or I'm gonna do to you what I just did to her. Either we're equal in this, or I have another victim." That's why Richard Allen looked like he was in a fight, because he was in a fight. We know that Libby wasn't in a fight. She had no defensive wounds. So why the hell did Richard Allen look like he was in a fight? He didn't fight with any girls. We know that much. Well, Abby had some superficial wounds and bruising. But the evidence tells me that there was at least two people down, two people involved in this crime that were down there near that water. Why would he cross the creek? Why would he cross the creek? To get to the other side, obviously. Well, why does he want to go to the other side? Because that's part of the plan. Nobody would expect them to go back. We saw the girls cross the bridge. It was on Snapchat. Everybody knows that they crossed that bridge. So they're on the south side, right? I mean, why would they be on the other side of the creek? That makes no sense. Well, if this was a pre-planned murder, isn't that what you would think of? All right, let's go to the chat here. Samantha Lee. Rick could have made them clean their... They would have still found it. That's not enough. There was no signs of penetration. Forgive me for saying that. But, we're past the pleasantries. There was none of that. So, I don't know. But the food jacket stuff, yeah. It's interesting. The Urban Dictionary says food jacket is somebody that, likes feet, apparently, and to come in contact with their genitals. But that fits more with Richard Allen as a lone wolf. But the totality of everything doesn't suggest that. But then again, there was a sock taken and underwear, which could add a little bit to that. Ruckus Rock says, no signs of struggle per law enforcement. Can you iterate? Thank you, Jari. Yeah, please hit the like button. Anna, there is still so much we don't know about the crime. It could be very different from what we imagine. It would be interesting to know the truth. See if any of us are right. All I know is Richard Allen is most likely involved, and he owes, first and foremost, Anna and Carrie an explanation. But he owes me an explanation too. All of us, the world. Like, how can you do this? Like, why would you do this? Like, how could you add to that part of the world? I don't know. Maybe something really bad happened to Richard Allen when he was a kid. He said that his grandfather did something to him. He said that he molested some people, even I think his sister. They asked her, she said, no, he never touched me. But maybe she doesn't remember. Keegan Kline was doing stuff. There's 3-year-old kids on there. You're not going to people don't remember stuff like that, especially if it's something tragic. She's not going to remember. Like I said, it's Richard Allen that owes the explanation to Anna and Carrie, first and foremost. Of course, there's other people way ahead of us. But I'm just saying, we need to know too. They need to know first. I'll wait. But yeah, you can't do what you did and not owe the entire planet an explanation. There's a pecking order, yes. Mary C, what's up? Sleuth Crew is in the building. We're everywhere. You guys may not know this, but the Sleuth Crew is worldwide. It was a horribly sloppy crime. Not surprised the perpetrator would be bloody. But looking like he got in a fight. What does that mean? Just being covered in blood might be enough to say that, right? Like, hey, this guy was all muddy and bloody. It looked like he got in a fight. Because that's what happens. You know, you're rolling around on the ground. You get your eye cut. Your nose is bleeding. Bloody lip. You know, maybe get your head busted. You're going to be muddy and bloody. But who made him muddy and bloody? It wasn't Abby and Libby. Well, I guess just, you know, falling down that hill. I heard it was already muddy down there from the melted snow. So yeah, scratch all that. Definitely. So the blood coming from his victims, the mud coming from the elements, the water, the struggle, the moving, the fighting, whatever. Slipping around in the rocks, in the water. So if you're covered in mud and you have the person you just murdered, their blood is all over you, and somebody sees you walking down 300, they're not going to say, oh, you just killed 2 kids. They're going to say, oh, you look like you just got in a fight. Karen, they were cold and terrified knowing they were going to die. So yeah, it's terrifying. Nobody should ever have to go through that. Not a child, not an adult, nobody. But the fact that it was children who were just going about their lives, that's terrifying to me. And if Richard Allen is this lone wolf, okay, well, why? Why did he do that? Why would some lone wolf, he seems like a little bitch. Why would this little bitch all by himself choose to take on 2 people? It's possible, Mary. That place gets pretty flooded, though. Ruckus, he was going to SA them. There's no way he would leave them alive. He planned to SA them and murder them. Being disturbed just took away the SA. That's not true, Ruckus. I wish I knew this guy's name, but he was a perpetrator. He would kind of walk up to playgrounds, and then he would take 2 victims, and he would kind of take them away from the area, rape both of the victims, and let them live. But he was kind of he traveled a lot, so I think he was a transient. He may have even lived in his own vehicle. He would get back in his vehicle, move to another town, and then do the same thing. But he never killed them. So why did Richard Allen kill them? He didn't have to kill them. You know, there's no evidence of other crimes that he's a violent person. He's not like some kind of mob boss, like, oh, no witnesses, you know, I never leave a witness. No, we're talking about an assistant manager at the CVS, a father, a husband, a father, not only a father, but a father to a very successful daughter. Like she has an impressive resume. You can't really accomplish that if you're doing weird shit with your kids. You know, they're usually turning to drugs or doing weird shit. You know, not always, of course. Not all, but most. Bad actors, good to see you. What it do? What it do, playa? Tony Ann, I wonder if any of the groupies reached out. Oh, of course they have. I've even sent Richard Allen a letter. Obviously me. Obviously. The Incognito Gypsy. That's a cool name. TK is my other perp that was with Richard Allen. TK is an angry person, in my opinion, and I could see him doing something like this. I have cotton mouth. LG pissed him off somehow, and the ego took over. Richard Allen was probably, I don't know. My current theory is there's two perps. Honestly, I think Keegan Kline he confessed. The only actual confession comes from him. So, we have a super chat. All right, guys, we are legitimized. We have a sponsor. Thank you, wife Lilith. Let's see what we got here. IGG. I should gone to bed already. I get up too early. Keep fighting the good fight, Sleuth. Abby and Libby. You got it. At least until Richard Allen confesses. Obviously. I don't know. Maybe after the whole appeal process is finalized. I don't know. Maybe he will give an exclusive. I think some outlet would definitely be willing to pay some pretty good money to get an exclusive with Richard Allen. So I think if somebody propositioned that, he may, want to give a gift to his wife. Say, hey, if you give her all that money, I'll give you an exclusive. Hint, hint. All you mainstream media outlets, hint, hint. Robin B is in the building. Good evening, Sleuth and everyone in chat, mods listening. Indiana. Shout out to Indiana. Big up, big up. Did Richard Allen reply to your mail? No. CJK, what up? Yeah, good night, wife Lola. Are you using a new streaming service? No, this is StreamYard. Why? Is it not working very well? Oh, you're talking about the chat box on screen. No, this is a testing. It's in the beta stage. I'm beta testing it. Yeah, and I think his dad probably told him what happened. I just don't see KK being able to manage. See, you can't, don't go there. Don't say, oh, Kagan couldn't do this or TK couldn't do that. You have no clue. I just went hiking with my 72-year-old father up a mountain. I don't want to hear any of that shit. I don't see. Yeah, that's ridiculous. I don't know why people do that. Sometimes I just think people have never been physical in their life. You know what I mean? They never played football. They never did boxing. They never did jujitsu. They never just wrestled around with their brother or cousins and their neighbors and stuff. So they don't really understand like the physicality of things. Like sometimes you can wrestle the biggest guy in the group and he's the biggest bitch. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it. That's why I created a whole plethora of moderators. So we can combat these trolls trying to take advantage of that. Because it's not moderated. You know, here I can share these comments, click on them. Hey, share this one, that one, this one, that one. I have no control over that. I can shut it off, I think, like that, and then bring it back. I just don't see it after watching him move. Hey, whatever. Whatever, brah. Cyber Warrior, what's up? GP, besides when a person's a journal and is pump and they can things that they've never done. Oh, adrenaline. Yeah. When people are high on adrenaline, they can. Remember the stories of mothers lifting cars? Something very similar to that. Doing something like that's just taking you beyond. Remember that one killer he was a young kid. He had a normal family. He was like 6'3". He looked like this Amish looking guy, really. But he killed a homeless man just for shits and gigs. He jumped on him, beat him to death, and then kept his head. And then he talks about the adrenaline. Those are the guys that are the people, because some women are like that too, that openly discuss their feelings and what they went through during the whole ordeal. I think that that's very helpful, for them to share like that. A pure psychopath is really hard to come by. And that motherfucker was definitely a pure psychopath. He's like, I knew I would be in this. He was in the investigation room and he said, I knew I would be in this room one day. I just didn't know if I would be in this seat or in your seat. Makes you wonder about a lot of these cops, right? They chose that seat instead. Let's see. I think I'm all caught up on the chat. You guys want to get going? Oh, hold on. Let's go to Gypsy. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying this is the most comfortable theory for me at this point. Yeah. Stick with it. Track it down. Try to get rid of it. That's all I've been trying to do with that Keegan Klein stuff. And I just want to get rid of it. Help me get rid of it. Let's debunk that shit. But you can't. That's the problem. Holman knew it. All those investigators knew it. They just could not fucking prove it. And that's a real tragedy. That's the tragedy of the Delphi case, not Richard Allen. It's that part. And they have receipts to prove it. Let's see. Let's start here. Delphi trial exhibits. So in this folder, I have Libby's video, Richard Allen's interviews, Richard Allen's phone calls, and then all of the trial exhibit photographs that were put out. I think we'll start with Libby's video. I put a compilation together. And I saw a post from that Luke guy. I think he's the one that put it out. And I guess there's no copyright, so let's see. This one I titled A Stable Mix because I stabilized different portions of the video, mixed it with the original, and kept the same audio. But there's going to be a lot of close-ups and stabilizing, so this one is a stable mix. So what we're going to do, if you guys are just joining us, we did have a short little glitch earlier. Something triggered my breaker. It's probably all the lights I have on here in the studio. I turned my garage into a little studio. And then I have an AC unit and all this other equipment hooked up that I probably don't need. But whatever. For whatever reason, it tripped the breaker when my wife was using, I think it's like a blow dryer. That's how I guess that's how you'd classify it. A giant blow dryer. Want to see those. I'll have to go back and watch some of your videos that I've missed. Sure. Whatevs. Let me know if you guys can hear this or not. So right there, you should hear like wind in the highway. Let me know if you heard that. Low sound check. What are you up to, Cyber? How you been? How was your guys' Memorial weekend? Did you stay out of trouble? All right, we got a yes from Jari and misunderstood. Thanks for the input. Or would that be feedback? Either way. Potato, potato. Hakuna Matata.
See, this is the path that we get on. There's no path going there, so we have to go down here. Hi.
Okay, so what's the controversy about this video? I mean, is it just the fact that you can't 100% definitively say, hey, that's Richard Allen? Is that the problem? I'll agree to that. I'll concede. However, see this guy right here? See this guy? Whoever he is. I don't know. Kind of looks like Keaton Klein a little bit right here. To be honest. Pareidolia of the mind. See? So we can't identify him, right? Shit. Kind of looks like Ron Logan. Right? Remember he was running around with like this black object kind of hanging down right here. Blue jacket, jeans, and he lives right there. It's obviously him, right? Good thing that Richard Allen was kind enough to explain his experience on the trails that day. It's very kind of you, Richard Allen. So he told us that he bumped into this very specific group of young ladies at a very specific time, nonetheless. And guess what? When they sat down and they viewed exactly what we're looking at right here, guess what they said? Hey, that's the guy we saw. Well, wait a minute. You said he was all in black. Well, yeah, he was wearing all dark stuff. It was shady where I saw him, but yeah, that's him. That's the guy right there. Can you be sure? Absolutely. All the witnesses gave a horrible description of the guy that they saw that day. But good thing that Libby took this video, God bless her, because they had the opportunity to point at him. They didn't get to point at him in the courtroom. They didn't need to, because Libby provided this. The guy we saw is the guy in that video. They have no reason to lie about that. Absolutely no reason whatsoever. GP, I still feel like Abby was starting to cry a little bit. I can't tell. It's the weather. It's the season, the sniffling. She could be a little bit out of breath. When you're exercising in cold weather, it kind of gives you like a runny nose. So I don't know. She could have been crying, yeah. She may have realized, like, hey, like, you better hurry up, Abby. Like, we're not here to meet who we think we're here to meet. Like we've been set up. Maybe even not set up. Maybe they weren't even supposed to meet him, but they got into some kind of argument, you know, the night before. Because we know that Anthony Schatz was communicating with Abby and Libby the night before, all the way through the night into the early morning hours. So maybe he just had knowledge that they would be there and that they planned to cross the bridge at a certain time. Yeah, me and the girls are going to cross the bridge, right? The other witness, when she came back, she sent a Snapchat and it said, I'm back or something like that. As if, hey, I completed the bridge. That was my rite of passage. Now it's your turn, Abby. Right? It was her first time. So maybe they had a big fight with Anthony Schatz, did something, pissed him off, obviously. And he just knew that they were going to be there. Or the group of assailants knew that they were going to be there. Hey, what's up? It's chilling that it was him. Yes, I heard crying too because of the sniffling. So I can't confirm whether or not it's crying. I don't hear a whole lot of stress. It's a short clip, but the parts where she's talking about this, the hill we go down, she seems more confused. Like, oh shit, like she's putting it together. Like she's seeing something that we're not seeing. I think that's what Burstein meant. What did he do? He's like that. What are you people in the TV business? You know, you don't see what's over here and you don't see what's over here. I don't think he was talking about the video. I think he may have been talking about what Libby was seeing versus her video. It's almost like this is the hill that we go down, and as she's looking down, she can see somebody out there, you know, maybe. Like, oh shit. Let's go to Karen. They were talking to KK that night. Richard Allen knew they were going to be there, I think. Well, we know that Anthony Schatz was talking to them. They were up late, guys. Up late, very late. And then up early. If you agree with me that 10 a.m. is early, which I think it is, for a day that you can definitely sleep in and you've been up into the early morning hours, to me, that is early. Staying up late and then getting up around 10. Yeah. When you don't have to, you know, it's a snow day. Like, I feel like you're motivated at that point. Anna, I have wondered if BG was saying something when he came up behind. Yeah, he may have grabbed her. You know, he may have like tried to touch her or something. Like, hey, come here. And then Libby was like, oh, hell no. She pulls out her camera. I was like, oh, dude, this creepy guy. And then that's why she comes running off the bridge. She's like, oh, my God. Because she's freaked out. But she could be freaked out from crossing that bridge and just completing her rite of passage, right? What was the other witness's name? Was it Weber? No, not Weber. Similar to that. It was Kelsey's friend. I know one of you guys will refresh my memory in the chat. Bree. Yeah, Bree Weber. Just came to me. So when Bree Weber sent a Snapchat, it was of the north side of the bridge, and it said, I'm back, as if she completed her rite of passage. Everybody that talked about the bridge that was local said it's kind of like a rite of passage. Even Anna said that, I think. Or was that Becky? Somebody said it. I've heard a few people say it. Wilbur. There we go. Bree Wilbur. Jeez. So maybe that's what they were doing. I always thought that Richard Allen was stalking them through Snapchat. You know, why did he feel the need to say that he was looking at his stock ticker? Like, why even mention that? Who cares? Because that's kind of his MO. He tries to be proactive. They're going to ask me about the phone, so I'm going to go ahead and sow a seed. So I was looking at my stock ticker. Oh, so that's what you were doing on your phone. Yeah, because the witnesses told us that you were on your phone. Okay, so he's already preemptively dropped his countermeasure. You keep saying we know they were talking to Anthony Schatz till late night before. Where is that evidence? Mistress of Wine, we played it 100 times. It was testified to in court. I might have it. I mean, I'll take a quick look. But yeah, I mean, that's a fact. Here, hold on. Let's see. I think it was the murder sheet who was sitting with Vito. I can't find it. But yeah, go check out the murder sheet. They did an interview with Detective Vito, and he talks about how the girls were talking to the Anthony Schatz account the day of, the night before, the morning of, and up until the crime. Yeah, there you go, Garrett. So go find that one. Just go to look up the murder sheet. Or I might even have a video where I talked about it. Go look up the Richard Allen Kagan Klein connection or something like that. Oh shit, I might have that video handy. Hold on. Maybe. Don't quote me. Remember, I just came back from camping and I'm sunburned. And my legs got beat up pretty good from the thorn bushes. But you guys, I got some incredible footage for you. A lot of video. So I'm excited. I'll show that to you guys tomorrow. All right, I think I'm getting closer. What the hell? Oh, you know what? I probably put it back over here in the Delphi file. Yeah, Richard Allen and KK. There it is. Let's take a look at this. Richard Allen and Kathy Allen grew up in Peru, Indiana, as did Tony and Kagan Klein. According to Detective Vito, Richard Allen and the Kleins lived in the same neighborhood at some point. Richard Allen worked at the CVS store just around the corner from the Klein home from 2013 to 2016, until a few weeks before the murders occurred.
Well, not the one here, but with CVS since 2013.
Okay. So you worked at another CVS somewhere?
Yeah, I worked in Training Marion, I worked in Peru, and then I came to Delphi, I'm thinking 16, 17, 16.
During a police interview, detectives informed Keegan Klein that they knew he was logging into the Anthony Schatz account on 2 burner phones around 8 a.m. on the morning Abby and Libby were murdered. Kagan claimed that he did this to talk to more girls, but that explanation makes no sense. So this is a screenshot from Kagan Klein's, interview transcript with Vito. Vito says, okay, it was two detectives. Okay, well, on February 13th, this would have been logged in a little bit earlier. So that would have been 8 o'clock in the morning at your house. And it says Canal Street right here. Okay. Where you and your dad lived. 2 separate devices. See the numbers here? How they're the same? Log in, log out. Log in, log out. 1 device. Log in, log out. All within minutes of each other. The same Anthony Schatz Snapchat account. And they're very interested to find out What two devices were these? They still don't know. And then he says, this is a fact. So I just wanted to go ahead and emphasize that. Thanks.
Tell me about Anthony Schatz. Why did you create that profile?
I don't really know. I was just lonely, you know what I mean?
On the same day, Kagan was logging into the Anthony Schatz account on these burner phones. Richard Allen was reported to be in Peru, just up the street from the Klein home.
Can you help us understand what was going on Monday, February the 13th? You kind of tell us what you were doing that day, and remember the day the girls
Okay.
were on the trail.
Okay.
Yeah.
I went over to my mom's in Peru, Mexico, earlier in the day. I think my mom had hip surgery back then or something, but regardless, my wife was working, so I went over there and spent the day, not the day, I spent the morning with them. My sisters come over and they were going to go eat lunch and stuff, and I wasn't about that, so I went home.
Okay, so let's go back to the transcript of Keegan Klein's transcript with Vito and another detective. So Richard Allen's wife clocks in at 8 o'clock. So if they're getting up at the same time and he's heading one way and she's heading that way, it kind of coincides with that time. 8 o'clock in the morning. So for whatever reason, and I don't feel like Keegan Klein is the type of person that wakes up at 8 o'clock in the morning. I could be wrong, but I feel like they had important plans. And why is he logging into two devices that they still have not yet found into the Anthony Schatz account? Remember, Anthony Schatz is talking to Abby and Libby the day before, the night of, and the morning of, up until the murders occurred.
And I remember it was a fairly warm day, or warmer
Good to
than
see you,
normal,
Jeanette.
So I think I just put a jacket on and went back out to the trails.
Libby and Abby had been communicating with the Anthony Schatz account on Snapchat the day before, including late into the night and early morning hours, right up until just before they were killed. Here it
Is
is.
it true that Liberty and this Anthony Schatz account were in contact the night before her murder, even if we don't know what was said?
That is correct. And to the day of.
Unfortunately, those conversations were never recovered.
A majority of the contact between Libby and the Anthony Schatz profile was on Snapchat. And because of that, the content of the messages couldn't be recovered due to the nature of the app and at the time, the settings that were being used.
So from the day before up until the murders occurred. The day of is the way he puts it. So from the day before to the day of. So I knew it was somewhere in that video. Do you guys want to watch? Yeah, let's go in chronological order. So we'll do the Richard Allen interviews. Make sure you guys let me know how the audio is doing.
Yeah, great. See you later, Richard. Thank you. I don't know if I gave you one of my cards. There it is.
Okay, so I want to give you guys a little bit of a taste of what Dan Doolin had to deal with, right? So if you don't have a trained eye, if you're tired, you're not part of the core investigative group, and you're just out taking notes and meeting with witnesses, you might fall a victim to this. And this is what I'm talking about. Watch the way that Richard Allen walks into this room. If you don't have a keen eye and you're susceptible to the manipulation of psychopaths, this shit will have a huge effect on you because you have a lot of empathy and sympathy, and they don't have those things. They know what they are because they've been what's the word? They've been acting out those motions the best that they know how, the way that they've trained themselves to do. They don't have any empathy. I don't even think they have sympathy, but they kind of have an idea of what it is and what it should look like. So then they try to replicate it. Watch him as he walks into this room.
Richard.
Looking like an old lady.
I don't know if I gave him one of my cards. There it is. I had to give him. I think he did. Okay, great. See you later, Richard. Thank you. I don't know if I gave him one of my cards. There it is. I had to give him. I think he did. I probably set it down. Right there you are. So the reason we wanted to talk to you is about the accountability case. And appreciate your time in doing that. And as a formality, before we talk to anybody about these things, I want to make sure you understand you're not under arrest or anything like that, okay? And the door here is open. You can leave anytime you want. I'd be glad to give you a ride back or whatever. So, but we need to make sure.
That's your classic superficial charm.
So, but door here is open. You can leave anytime you want. I'd be glad to give you a ride back or whatever.
There it is. There's the superficial charm right there.
So, but
classic.
We need to make sure that we go cover a formality here, and I'm going to get to the page here. This is a Miranda warning. So before we ask any questions, you need to understand your rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask any questions and have it with you during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, it will be appointed for you before you question if you wish. If you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you have the right to stop answering anytime. You also have the right to stop answering anytime we talk to a lawyer. Now, like I said, you're not under arrest, so just want to make sure you understand those rights. Down here at the bottom, it says, I read this statement of our rights and understand our rights. I do not want a lawyer at this time, and I understand what I am doing. No promises or threats have been made to me, no pressure occurs of any kind to be used against me. If you'd be willing to talk with us.
Let's go to this comment real quick here. Samantha Lisa Sleuth, this was the interrogation. He told on himself exactly when he arrived. Timestamped by 4 girls' photos. Wasn't as slick as he thought. Yeah, I think there's a good chance that he was trying to use his mother as an alibi. Right? You had Keegan Kline using his grandparents as an alibi. You have him visiting his grandmother as an alibi. Maybe he left his phone there. But once he got on the trails and he realized that he was spotted, and his mind started working overtime. You know, he's like, I got to take countermeasures. I got to take countermeasures. But really, most of it was just his paranoia. Typical psycho. Your typical psycho killer, guys.
So just if you understand your rights, we just need your signature there to be covered. Okay? Okay. Now, this is a formality we take care of whenever we talk to anyone.
We're just going back to the beginning of the case, and we know you had talked to Lieutenant Doolin. We just want to figure out what you saw when you were out there before.
Great, wonderful. Okay. Now, Tony brought up something that...
Is this Richard Allen being irritated? Watch him throw this pen. He goes, great, wonderful.
Great, wonderful. Okay. Now, Tony brought up...
Great, wonderful, throws the pen.
You had...
What was that? He's really annoyed. They're not buying into it. He thought he was going to waltz in there, do the Jedi mind trick on these two fucking shiny heads here, and waltz out of there. Look at the annoyance when he realizes that that's not going to happen.
Great, wonderful. Okay.
Great, wonderful.
Now, Tony brought up something that you had done when initially you had talked to Lieutenant Doolin. And according to Lieutenant Doolin, the information he got to you was that you were on the trail between 1:30 and 3:30. Does it make any sense? Okay. And that you had parked at the old Farm Bureau building. I think that may have been the old.
Where's he looking? Where's he looking? What's over there to the right? What's over there? Is that where he keeps his lies? The closet over there to his right? Let's take a look at this weird turn to the right.
You had done when initially you had talked to Lieutenant Doolin, and according to Lieutenant Doolin, the information he got to you was that you were on the trail between 1:30 and 3:30. Does it make any sense? Okay. And that you had parked at the old farm.
What's over there, Rick? Is a fucking imaginary friend over here or what? Who are you looking at, dude?
Bureau building. I think that may have been the old welfare office.
That shit's weird.
To Lieutenant Doolin, the information he got to you was that you were on the trail between 1:30 and 3:30. Does it make any sense? Okay. And that you had parked at the old Farm Bureau building. I think that may have been the old welfare office out there. Well, while at the Freedom Bridge, you saw 3 females and noted that one was taller and had black or brown long hair. This is basically what he had written down.
Okay, let's focus there for a moment. So now let's go into our trial exhibits. Just briefly, and then we'll bounce back. So they're talking about the witnesses, right? So that's who he's talking about. And then let me pull up that Snapchat from Bree. Who was an excellent witness, by the way. That's why the Richard Allen fan club hates her so much. So we got, what is it? Pictures. Oh, it went too far. Hold on. Back. Yeah, that's what she said, back. So Abby and Libby wanted to go so that they can do what Bree just did. And of course, Libby's brave. I've already done it 10 times. You got to do it. Abby, if you do it, I'll do it, says Bree. They're late getting to the trails. So she's already back. But the Abby and Libby just missed them. Just missed them. But this kind of looks like Abby. But how is Bree uploading a picture of herself? The killer may have assumed that this was Abby and that it's go time. That's why you have Richard Allen leaving the cemetery, in my opinion, heading to the CPS building and confronting this group of girls. I believe that possibly if that was Abby and Libby, there may have been a confrontation right there. I don't know if this person was that motivated. All we know is that Richard Allen was in Peru around 8 o'clock in the morning. And you had Keegan Klein logging in and logging out of 2 separate phones that they still have not found into the Anthony Shots account. Abby and Libby are communicating with them the day before until the day of, according to Vito. Call me crazy, but I think there might be a connection.
And maybe you even got some information about your phone or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great. So now you understand everything, so I want to make sure that we just kind of get some information from you, and we get started here off the bat with today's date, which is Thursday. And today is 10.
He's got the arms crossed, and he's really like, he's trying to figure out what they're doing on this clipboard over here. He can't take his eyes off the clipboard.
13 of 22. What time do you have, Tony?
Quarter till 11.
11, 40, 10, 45. And your full name is?
Richard
H-A-R-D.
Matthew
Allen.
That's A-L-L-E-N. Okay, and how old are you now?
He's like, mm-hmm. You see how he's like, he tries to make himself small?
And your full name is?
Richard
H-A-R-D.
Matthew
Controlling it right here.
Allen.
That's A-L-L-E-N. Okay, and how old are you now?
50 years old.
Okay.
50
Your date of
years
birth?
old.
99.
I'm 50 years old.
Why are you talking like that, dude? Nobody talks like that.
22. What time do you have, Tony?
quarter till 11.
11, 40, 10, 45. And your full name is?
Richard
H-A-R-D.
Matthew
Allen.
That's A-L-L-E-N. Okay, and how old are you now?
50 years old.
Okay. Your date of birth?
99.
50 years
17.
old.
Okay, great. Could I ask you to write down the first number of the X is that right there?
I'm in the 50-year-old club this year.
Yeah. I'm beyond that, actually. So.
Just turned.
No.
Sorry. Hard to believe.
There's some more of that charm for you.
Okay, great.
Watch.
Could I ask you to write down the first number of the X is that right there?
I'm in the 50-year-old club this year.
Yeah. I'm beyond that, actually. So.
Just turned.
No.
Sorry. Hard to believe.
No. No. He's like, he's pissed. You guys can't hear that he's pissed? Alexei, he was scoffing at the detective because he had evaded them for years. Yeah, he thought he was going to waltz in there. Thank you for that super chat. Allowed others to also be accused and jailed over the years. Infuriating. Yeah, they came at Ron Logan hardcore. They tormented that dude. So he may have had a few false confessions too, and they didn't arrest him. Like, they know the difference. Samantha Lee. And I am sorry, but I feel he went crazy because he knew what he did to those girls. The rumor is his wife currently is being asked not to talk to him because he is still confessing and doesn't want to. It's my understanding that Richard Allen had the entire a part of the prison on lockdown recently. Not sure why. Mistress, what if KK leased the Anthony Snapchat account out and it was Richard Allen using it? Doesn't mean KK was involved in actual murders. This is what I think happened, Mistress. I think Richard Allen and the clients will say TK. Remember, this is just my opinion. It's all hypothetical. It's not proven. Richard Allen and TK knew each other a long time ago. And I got that information from some very reliable sources. Before the trial, I was the only person that told you that Richard Allen was in Peru that morning. I have a video to prove it. It's because I had somebody reach out to me and told me that, because I did a video and I said, oh, you know, it was a theory about Richard Allen being in Peru taking care of his mother because his brother-in-law had passed away. So I got an email and it said, hey, that, you know, I just wanted to let you know that that's not true, that this is what's this, and that, and set the record straight. So the way I see it is they reconnected at some point. I'm assuming, look, Kathy Allen is always welcome to contact me if she, you know, this platform is available to anybody involved in these tragedies. As long as people are respectful and all of that, you know what I mean? We will be open-minded. But the truth is, wait, hold on, guys. There's somebody at my door. They won't go away. Who is this? Who is this is? Oh. False alarm. But I digress. Let's see. Samantha, the appeal just wants baptized. Okay, let's continue on.
And do you know your driver's license number off the top of your head?
No.
Don't worry about it. The home address, I didn't get it when I was out there. What is it?
1967,
67.
Whiteman, white man.
Why do you say it like that? Somebody put a comment on one of my videos and said that Patrick Westfall said it that way. Do you think that matters? Like, I just don't understand why he would emphasize it like that.
I'm beyond that, actually.
Just turned. No.
Sorry. Hard to believe.
White man.
And do you know your driver's license number off the top of your head?
No.
Don't worry about it. The home address, I didn't get it when I was out there. What is it?
1967,
67.
Whiteman, white man.
White man.
Okay.
Why would you need to help somebody spell Whiteman Drive? I can see if it was like something exotic, then you would kind of help them like spell it out. Can you spell Whiteman without an E or no?
And a phone number you can contact that.
317.
Wouldn't that be Whitman?
612 4533.
Would you have a water? I got one right here, John. Oh, okay, sure. I'll be right back. And do you have any of their cell phone numbers that you can be contacted by?
I got my wife's number.
Okay, what's her phone number?
317 612 4753. Never dial numbers anymore.
What's up, Darkside? Maybe he knew that was what was wrong on his interview with Doolin. Yeah, remember, I said on a few previous videos of these preemptive countermeasures, you know, trying to confuse Doolin, perhaps. Like, maybe he did give some misleading information, knowing that when he took it down, that he would be confused. But even once he discovered it, he would see Richard Allen would be able to explain it as if, oh, it was a simple mistake. Or Doolin might even just assume like, oh, I made a simple mistake. Because obviously you live on Whiteman, but you told me that your name was Richard Allen Whiteman, right? He's like, oh, it's obviously me, right? I made a simple mistake, human error. But the psychopath taking preemptive steps to mislead, creating a countermeasure, he might inject that. He might say, "My name is Richard Allen Whiteman," knowing that later on he could explain it away.
I know exactly what you're
Good comment, Darkside.
talking about. Yeah. Okay. And how long have you had that phone number that your 317 number?
I believe I got it when I worked at Indy, so it would have been prior to 2006. Okay. Because it's an Indy number.
Okay. Okay. So, let's see. And can I ask what kind of phone you have?
It's an Android, a Google.
Okay. Yeah. What's your email address?
RICK.
What was that? Let's run that back.
Android, a Google.
Okay, is that normal? Do you guys ever struggle with your email address? Or let's just give him the benefit of the doubt and say he had no footprint, no online footprint. So he really didn't use his email that often. But he had a job that he obviously used his email quite often. He seems to be a professional person, involved in tournaments and all kinds of stuff. You think he would just know his email. Was he trying to remember what he had planned? I feel like he has a plan. He keeps looking to the right. What was my plan?
Okay. Yeah. What's your email address?
RICK 2045 @frontier.com.
Do you have any other email addresses? I have a couple myself. So
What's up, Pitbull?
Yeah, I don't use it very
Ejected.
often. It's Foojaka, FOOJACKA 0 @gmail.com.
Okay, pay attention to what he says here.
And I had one at Yahoo at some point too, but
I had one at Yahoo too at some point. I wonder what that email address is.
it's Foojaka, FOOJACKA 0 @gmail.com.
Let me ask you this, Anna. Have you ever gone like this when somebody asked you your email address?
And I had one at Yahoo at some point too, but I don't remember what it was.
Okay, great. What kind of social media do applications do you use, like Facebook? No, at all? Do you have a Facebook account?
Oh, my wife does. I don't.
Sounds so familiar.
I wonder if he's telling the truth there. Right? If he's creating a Facebook on a burner phone with fake information, how would anybody ever know?
I don't remember what it was.
Okay, great. What kind of social media do applications do you use, like Facebook? No, at all? Do you have a Facebook account?
Oh, my wife does. I don't.
Sounds so familiar. Okay. And does she post often? Things like,
She's, yeah,
on there all the time?
and she does.
Okay, all right. So what is your marital
What was that? I missed that part. Let's see.
Okay. And does she post often? Things like,
She's, yeah.
on there all the
I don't know. I didn't hear the question.
sounds so familiar. Okay. And does she post often? Things like,
Oh, does she post
She's-
often?
Yeah,
on there all the time?
and she does.
Okay, all right. So what is your marital status?
So he said, does she post often? Richard Allen said that she does.
Married, okay. And have you been married before?
No.
Okay. Number of children we were talking about.
I've thought about this, Anna. Let's go to Anna's comment here. If Food Jacka stands for a foot fetish, I'd expect more resistance in sharing that email address. Not if he thinks he's being slick. If he thinks like, hey, the average person would never guess what that is, because I just looked it up. So he would be correct. If he gave me his email address, or if let's say you just ran into him and you made a business inquiry and you guys exchanged email addresses. He said, my email address is foodjacka@gmail.com. Are you going to think foot fetish? I had to look it up. I'm just curious like that. I had to look it up.
Rick.
It's in the Urban Dictionary.
Oh, my daughter. Rick Jr. No, B-R-I.
Okay. And what was that? Let me run this back.
What's your name again?
Rick. Oh, my daughter. Rick Jr. No.
And have you been married before?
No.
Okay. Number of children we were talking about, your kid, your daughter. What's your name again?
Rick.
He says, I wanted to ask you about your daughter. And he says her name, or what's her name? He says Rick. I think the reason that he said Rick is because he didn't hear the question and he's too preoccupied trying to figure out what the hell, who's that, Mullins? What he's writing on the paper. So he didn't even hear the question.
And have you been married before?
No.
Okay. Number of children we were talking about, your kid, your daughter. What's your name again?
Rick. Oh, my daughter. Rick Jr. No, B-R-I-T-T.
That superficial charm.
A-N-Y.
Okay. And how old is Brittany now, you said? You did math earlier.
28.
28, okay. She's born when, you said?
1994.
94, okay. And what's her last name now?
Zapanta. It's Z-A-P-A-N-T-A.
Okay.
Hey, Anna, I don't want to kink shame nobody. That's not my intention. Anna says, I guess it's better to have a foot fetish than be an Anthony Shots client. I look up odd words and names. Good journalism practice. Yeah, I agree. Just stay curious.
And any grandkids?
No.
Oh, okay. And what's her husband's name? Is he from around here?
He's originally from the Philippines.
Oh, okay.
But lived in Canada, and he's been here shortly before they got married, so around 16, maybe 15, 16,
Okay.
I don't know. They got married in 17.
What's his name?
Paulo, P-A-U-L-O.
Okay. P-A-U-L-L? Oh, I put another one.
P-A-U-L-O.
I got it. Okay. All right. So, but he lived here for a while. So I never assumed Zapanta's being around here.
No, not around here.
Not around here? You're somebody else?
She was
I can
already
still see him.
back in England when she met him.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Graduated high school. Where at?
North Miami.
What year?
North Miami High School.
91.
And any other vocational training, college
Went
classes?
to Ivy Tech like a couple semesters.
What'd you study there?
Accounting.
Okay. Any other vocation?
He's reading everything. I think he even mouthed it this time.
91.
And any other vocational training, college classes?
Went to Ivy Tech like a couple semesters.
When he starts writing, he starts looking.
What'd you study there?
Accounting.
Okay. Any other vocational training or? Okay.
Well, I was in the military, but
Oh, okay. That's a question coming up here. Were you involved in any fraternal organizations, clubs, or athletics, or anything like that in school?
It's like, are you a Freemason? If you're a Freemason, we're going to let you off. You in any fraternities, huh?
Here and there, I did football for like a year, but nothing serious.
Kind of does, huh?
Any clubs or National Honor Society or something like that?
Oh, no.
Sorry. Military service, so what branch?
National Guard, Army National Guard.
And what was highest rank achieved?
E5 sergeant.
Okay. Mostly around here? Or
No, it was in, I was born right, well, not born, but I lived in Mexico most of my life.
Mexico, like in
Indiana.
Indiana, like in Miami.
Yeah, you always get that. Yeah, Mexico.
All right, guys, we're going to end this as part 1. We already hit the 2-hour mark. I got to help my wife with some things real quick. Maybe we'll touch base a little bit later. It's still a little bit early on my side. We'll say that'll be 50-50. So shout out to everybody who participated in the chat. It was good to see you guys. Wife Lilith, thank you for that. Alexi, I appreciate that. And all of you guys have a great night. I'm going to go unpack all my gear, and I'll see you again soon. Take care. Dark Side should still be here. If you're only visible to me, shoot me an email. I'll take a look at it tomorrow. GP, what's up? So Dark Side, if you're having any issues, just email me, and I'll take care of it. Bad Actors, thank you. Yeah, if you could, hit the thumbs up on the way out, and I'll see you guys again real soon. Peace.